Thank you for joining in today, tuning in today to the Generational Wealth Through Commercial Real Estate show. We got Mike Vann with us today. He's with Trident Multifamily. These guys are crushing it. They're based out of Texas, but they're kind of investing all over the Midwest. Mike has 20 years of experience, and he has a personal portfolio of $6 million right now, and that's across multiple asset classes. Mike, how you doing today, man? Tell us a little bit about how you got involved with real estate.
Well, thanks a lot, Willie, for having me on the show. I appreciate being here. Traditionally, like most people, I started out with single family and small multifamily stuff. About 20 years ago, I was working in the medical sales field and went through a couple different layoffs. Made it through, but at that point made me realize that I'm just a number and need to find another way to have some security. And so started looking into real estate and ended up buying a little duplex, and over time flipped some houses, went through the '08 crash and realized that, hey, real estate's a pretty solid investment as long as you buy it right and you're not over leveraged. You can make it through and survive even the greatest of downturns. And so continued on after my journey there and started buying a little bit bigger assets. Bought a 16 unit from a bank in 2010 and bought that for $450,000. Ended up selling it for $785,000 about 7 years later.
Nice.
And 31 that into a 55-unit apartment complex, and then along the way I bought some other smaller stuff as well. Yeah. Some 5-plexes, 6-plexes, 12, 27, that kind of stuff. Right. I still work a full-time job in the medical device field. I've been doing that for 16 years now with this current company, and it's been great. I really enjoy what I do, helping people, but at the same time, still corporate America, and you still got to have that backup plan. So 2017, I never had any partners before. In 2017, decided that hey, if I'm going to scale to the point I need to be to replace my income, I've been very blessed. And so because of that, it's been a blessing and a curse that it takes a lot to replace a lot. So that's right. Decided to scale up and do that through syndication. So sought out a mentoring program, vetted several of the mentoring programs, and decided to join Brad Sumrock's group down in Dallas.
Yep.
And through several of those meetings, met up with my current partner, met up with several partners, and did a few deals in Kansas and a couple in Dallas. Met my current partners, Rodney Miller out of Oklahoma City and Carl Silvercrop out of Dallas, and we decided to start pursuing deals together. And so we did our first deal together in March of 2019. It was a 100-unit over east of Tulsa. Yep. And we did that as separate entities. We all came in, as a separate entity working together. Mm-hmm. And we went through that deal and worked very well together, had great synergy, and decided after that to go ahead and formalize our partnership and create Trident Multifamily. Yep. And so under the Trident banner, we purchased another asset in November, 174-unit two-property portfolio over in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And so now under the Trident banner, we are trying to get our name out, brand ourselves as Trident Multifamily, yep. And currently seeking other acquisitions and partnerships. So that's kind of the long and short of it.
Gotcha. So I want to touch on real briefly, man. You're doing real estate almost like in a full-time capacity, and you're also working a full-time job. So how are you balancing it? Because there's a lot of people that's in your shoes that want to jump in, but it's like they don't feel like they have enough time to do it.
Well, I'll tell you, I don't sleep much. I mean, I'm actually 29 years old, but you can see what it's done to me. No, I'm just kidding. You do sacrifice. Yeah. I mean, for sure. But like any good thing, you have to sacrifice to reach the goals that you want to achieve. Right. So I do sacrifice a lot of sleep. Try not to sacrifice my family time, even though that does suffer sometimes. I try to keep them front and center.
Yeah.
That is my why, and along with my mission work. And so try to keep those things, with it, not sacrifice those as little as possible.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. So time management, a lot of time sacrifice. I use third-party management companies to manage all my properties. There's no way I could do that on my own.
Yeah.
So I'm an asset manager. But yeah, you have to leverage other people's time is the first and foremost thing, and
Right.
be a great manager of time yourself. Prioritize.
Right.
So.
Got you. Got you. Okay. Now, so you've did single family, you've done small multifamily, and you also done some large multifamily. Have you did any other asset classes besides multifamily?
Um, no, I mean, I had a small commercial building, but I wouldn't really consider that, like large, like you see these large strip malls and type things.
Yeah.
But no, it's mostly just been, it's all residential for the most part, just various sizes.
Yeah. Yeah. So, with that being said, why haven't you decided? I mean, now since you're syndicating, you can take on some large deals. Why haven't you decided to try out, like, say, self storage or mobile home parks? I mean, there's different asset classes, but you've chosen to stay with multifamily. What's your reasoning behind that?
Sure. Focus. As you mentioned before, I do have limited time resources. And so, for a variety of reasons, mostly being that I don't want to have the shiny object syndrome.
Yeah.
I would rather focus on one thing and do it well.
Yeah.
And I think that eventually we may branch out into other asset classes. But for the time being, we're going to focus. We think we owe that to our investors and ourselves to focus on owning and operating and the multifamily assets that we do have.
Yeah.
Provide the investors the best return for their money. They put
Yeah.
their trust in us, and so we feel a duty to them to give it our best and our focus. So yeah, that's the primary reason is we want to focus and take care of our investors and be in this for the long haul.
Right. Okay, so let's talk about how you're finding deals because everybody that's watching this that's kind of in the game, they know it's hard to find opportunities out there, especially in the major MSAs. So, how are you finding your deals?
Broker relationships. I mean, that's something that a couple of years ago, back in 2017, when we started this, that was one of the first things we did. Is we made a list of all the major player brokers in the markets we wanted to be in, and then also we made a list of potential investors, and you don't really discount anyone on either of those lists because you never know. And so we committed to ourselves between the three of us to make a certain number of phone calls a day to both investors and brokers, and develop those relationships over time. Continuous follow-up and persistence in developing those relationships and taking them deeper. And over time, you'll get some deals right off the bat. They may not be good deals, but even no matter what people are sending you, have the courtesy to, even if it's just a quick review, to do a review, send them a reply on why it didn't work, and help them define your criteria better, because that will help you. It helps develop the relationship for them to know what you're looking for, and why a deal did or did not work. And also, if they are kind of testing you to see what it gives them confidence in that what you're talking about.
Right. And, it kind of leads me to my next question around that is, you guys in 2017, you were doing smaller deals before that, and you said, hey, man, we want to go out here and buy 100, 200 unit apartment complexes. How did you convince these guys to take you serious?
Well, we all had track records. Like I said, I've been investing myself for a long time. my partner Rodney as well, and Carl had some investing experience as well. And so, we had a track record.
Yeah.
Granted, it wasn't multifamily, but we had a track record in real estate investing.
Right.
And just through conversations, naturally, they can tell what you're talking about. If you do your homework and you know what you're talking about, you can speak their language, then it gives you the ability to develop the relationship and go deeper. And and two, I mean, being in this is a relationship business, and we're not in this to be transactional. I'm more of a relational type person, so I don't, I want to learn about you, Willie, not just the Generational Wealth podcast. I want to know you as a person, and having those types of relationships and conversations, I think, makes people want to work with you as well.
Right. And for my listeners, I want you to really capture that point there. The two things that stood out right there is, number one, do your research, be educated, know exactly what you're talking about. Don't just say, hey man, send me properties, but tell them the asset class you're looking at, tell them how many units you're looking for, what's your investing strategy. Have that in place there, so he can say, okay, this guy knows what he's talking about. And then the second thing is, don't look at this as just calling somebody one time and think you're going to get deals forever. Like, you got to constantly be building that relationship and getting to know them so they can know you and start trusting you to send you those deals. So that was very, very good points, man. Very good points. Now, when you got started, obviously you guys had a little bit of a track record, but what was the biggest challenge initially for you?
I would say like anyone, just getting the developing those relationships, because like you said, it's not something you're going to get one call and start getting deals. Yeah. And actually you can, but not the good deals.
That's right.
And so, having good conversations, following up with those conversations with an email, thanking them for their time, once again, laying out your specific criteria that you're looking for, and then putting a follow-up appointment on your calendar to call these guys back. And, it's a process. And so, putting the time and effort in, as with anything, whether it's real estate or football, you got to put in your time and put in that hard work and sweat. So to get anything that make it pay off. So.
Yeah, and it's kind of like you're selling them on you. So if you look at just the sales cycle in general, anybody that's in sales will notice it takes about 7 to 10 follow-ups before you actually close the sale. So it's kind of the same process
Absolutely.
If you think of it that way.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So as far as markets, what markets are you focusing on right now?
We like the Mid-South market, as we like to call it. Like I said, I'm located in Missouri, Rodney's in Oklahoma, and Carl's in Texas. And so all of our deals are kind of in this triangle, so to speak, this Mid-South triangle, where we can jump in the car and be there within 3 hours from any of our locations. And so, like I said, we've had deals in Texas, Kansas, and Oklahoma. Lost out on a deal in Kansas City recently. And so that's kind of the reason behind we want to be able to be there on the ground quickly. And we like this market for cash flow. I mean, these secondary and tertiary markets that we're in and looking at, the cash flow tends to be better than it is in some of the primary markets, and a little less competitive. All markets are competitive nowadays. But these tend to be a little bit less competitive, and basically higher cash flow.
That's always a plus, especially when you got some investors that you got to keep happy. You want to have that cash flow for sure.
Yes.
Now, the deals that you're looking for, obviously everybody have like their certain niche of the number, unit count, and the class. What kind of deals are you looking for right now?
We try to stay 100 plus. We would look at something less than 100 units, but no smaller than 70. I mean, we want them to be able to support on-site management. And the smaller deals, just they're tougher. You can make it work if you have a couple smaller deals that are in close proximity that you can have share management or something like that. But typically 100 plus deals is what we look for. And I'm sorry, what was the other half of the question?
And as far as like the class, are you looking for like
Oh,
value add
sorry.
type stuff or?
Yes. Sorry. BC class, 100 plus unit value add. We look for opportunity. I mean, so that value add BC class, that's the sweet spot where you find the most opportunity. We don't like distressed assets.
Yeah.
Not at this point anyway. Obviously, you're going to have a lot more opportunity when you look at distressed assets, but right now we're focusing on cash flowing operating businesses. In the mid 80s and higher occupancy, with some deferred maintenance and some operational efficiencies that we can come in and cure and raise NOI.
Right. So you would say that probably a target type value add property would be something that somewhere that's maybe around a 3 to 5K per door capex budget. That would be kind of something that's ideal if you're adding value.
Yeah, that's about right. Anywhere from 3 to 7,000. The property we just bought actually, which we can probably talk a little bit more about later. We bought it for $8 million. We're putting in just over $2 million in capex. So, but then there's also opportunity on top of that. So 3 to 7K a door is a nice bread and butter.
Right. Gotcha. Now, when you're looking at deals, I mean, a lot of people say, okay, now I'm getting them to start sending me deals, but, how do I know if it's a good deal or not? So what are the red flags you look for when you're underwriting your deals?
Well, first of all, you can never take for granted what's in the OM. The broker's a salesman too. He gets paid when he sells a deal.
That's right.
You have to vet everything that's in the OM. I mean, we go out and we actually visit personally the comps in the market that are being used, and if we see some that are not being used, we dig into why that is. We want to be certain that when we put pro forma rents in our spreadsheet, that we're highly confident we'll be able to achieve that at a minimum. We basically use our pro forma as a minimum standard, almost a worst case scenario. And we know if it's going to work there, then we have a lot of potential upside.
Right.
As far as other red flags, it's hard to put a pin on anything specific, but I just say vet everything in the OM to the nth degree.
Right.
Because, at the end of the day, you're the one responsible for what's going on with your investors. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, with a lot of people, seeing how hot the multifamily space is, it's also causing a lot of new people to get involved and just jump right in. So just from what you're seeing right now, what is the biggest rookie mistake you see people making?
Overpaying.
Yeah.
Overpaying. So many people are so hungry to get their first deal that they overpay. They don't do the proper due diligence, and so they are hoping they can make their numbers work. And people that are not saying you can't do it on your own if you've never done it before, but it's a lot harder. That's why finding strategic partnerships, especially for new people, is very important. I always suggest that as a passive investor, that you want someone with a track record or someone with a team with a strong track record. Someone who puts their own money in the deal. There's like I said, there's not saying that a new person could not do it alone, but it will be much harder. And I think from a passive investor standpoint, it would be much more difficult for me to invest with that person.
Right. I mean, that makes a lot of sense. Man. Because like I said, a lot of people can just jump right out there, and they may have a lot of passive investors looking for an opportunity, and they're selling the ideal that, hey, I can get her and get it done. But if they don't have the track record, like you said, the experience behind them, or even somebody that's gone through 2008, the recession, if nobody's experienced that, how can they really decide what to do in the next one, or how to underwrite a deal knowing that something else is coming soon?
Right.
All of that stuff kind of plays a factor into it, and a lot of these guys are just not thinking about that. They're so concerned about, like you said, let me get my first deal done, let me collect this acquisition fee and all these management fees, and so
Right.
it's a fee culture. It's getting a little crazy right now, and
Right.
I,
Yeah, that's something else. To 2 points you made there is, having been investing for quite some time and come through that down cycle.
yeah,
It's easy to make money in the market we're in now,
right,
and that we've had for the past 8 years. It helps cure a lot of mistakes, like you said, come out rookie mistakes.
yeah,
Markets like we've been in the past 8 years or so
yeah,
help cure a lot of mistakes that in a slim market or the top of the cycle, you don't have the luxury of being able to make those mistakes. And
right.
so that's why you have to be extra careful with due diligence and be extra conservative in your measures. So yeah, it's something that you just got to be careful, especially at this point in the cycle.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. All right, man. So let's go ahead and segue to the next segment of the show. We're going to do a deal deep dive. So let's talk about a deal you did, man. How many units was it? What was the value add you're seeing on it? The kind of debt, and what your exit strategy is for that property.
Okay, we can talk about the one we just closed in November.
Okay.
So this was a deal. It was a 2-property portfolio in Tulsa, Oklahoma, 174 total units. One building was 102, the other one was 72, located right across the busy interstate from each other, so great traffic.
Yeah.
Probably in a B to B minus area, where there's a lot of new construction, big box retailers. The city's making improvements in the area, so it's an area that is having investment currently being made in there.
Right.
And this specific asset was kind of the ugly duckling in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
It had been owned by the same owner since '96, self-managing.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
it was really uninvolved owner. Hadn't been to the property in a year.
Yeah.
Rarely visited the property in the years previous to that.
Wow.
We noticed when we were, and this deal took a long time to get done. We were looking at this deal for over 9 months before we got it under contract. Back and forth, on pricing, on LOI. Is the guy going to sell it? Is he not going to sell it?
Yeah.
But we saw some really good opportunity with this deal, specifically not only in the fact that it had been a long-term owner,
Yeah.
and he hadn't really had a lot of deferred maintenance, so to speak, but no updates to the units. No, they haven't been keeping them up to the market standards for either rent or condition. So we saw an opportunity there to go in and do some value add as far as, making the property nice and shiny, cleaning it up, going and rehabbing the interiors of the units, as well as updating the amenities. And then also with utilities, that was a big opportunity. Utilities in that market should run anywhere from $1,200 to $1,500 a door. These are running around $2,000 a door.
Wow.
And so we saw an immediate opportunity there to go in and just through or utility conservation, add a significant amount of value to the property. And so, matter of fact, when we were touring the property, we toured it multiple times, and we toured one of the units. The manager walked us through there, and the hot water in one of the units, one of the bathrooms, was running full blast, and you could feel the countertop of the bathroom counter, and the whole countertop was hot. So this thing had been running for no telling how long.
Wow.
Full blast, wide open. The manager walks through there with us, doesn't even give it a second glance. And so, okay, well, that's
Right.
The opportunity we can see right there is water conservation. So,
Right. Right.
yeah, and so that's one of the first things we did as far as our capex budget, our capex plan
Yeah.
was we did an immediate sweep of both properties, of changing out toilets and shower heads, low flow,
Yeah.
uh, faucets and things like that. Also, when we did that, we changed all the valves
Yeah.
as well to make sure they weren't going to be leaking. And so, just by doing that alone, we'll see some immediate, utility savings. And then, of course, going back and updating the unit interiors.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, what kind of rent bump were you guys are you guys projecting on this property here?
So we, like I was saying, we look at kind of a minimum
Yeah.
standard
Yeah.
on our pro forma, and so we had pro forma an $80 rent bump
Yeah.
to these units at average. We had our first units turned back to us a week or so ago, and rented our first unit at a $100 rent bump.
Oh
And
wow.
so, right there tells us that yes, we can achieve at or above what we had pro forma. So that's good news for us
Yeah.
and our investors.
That's right. That's right. Good deal, man. And what kind of debt did you put on this?
So this one was a bridge debt. We did a 3-year bridge loan, non-recourse, and it is a floating rate loan. It's 300 points over LIBOR,
Yeah.
but we did purchase a rate cap, so we know with certainty that it will never go above X. And
Right.
we underwrote it just about at that high end
Right.
interest rate. But right now, interest rates are going the other direction, so
Yeah.
we feel that we're in good shape there, especially with that rate cap purchase.
Yeah.
We also, so it's a 3-year loan with 2 1-year extensions, so it's 5-year total.
Right. Right.
Recourse bridge debt. They financed not only the acquisition but also 100% of the rehab.
Man, that's
So
great.
that's
That's
one of
great.
the reasons that with this property, we purchased it at $8 million. We're putting a little bit over $2 million in capex, and so that's one of the reasons that we did this. And this property, typically we would do a 5-year hold.
Yeah.
This property specifically is going to be a 3 to 4-year project
Yeah.
because of the immense amount of improvements we can make immediately.
Yeah.
We can have it stabilized in 24 months and then start looking at potential sale. So we're hoping to sell it within year 3.
Yeah. Yeah. So all in, you're about 10. What are you kind of projecting where your exit would be at?
A little over 13.
Oh man, that's nice.
Mhm.
Nice.
Yeah.
Really good deal there.
Yeah. Yeah. So like I was saying earlier, we looked at cash flow, not just depreciation, and we want
Yeah.
basically a minimum. If we have a projected return of 80% over the life of a project, we want at least half of that return to come from cash flow.
Yeah.
So 80% annualized, 80% return over 5 years is 16% annualized. We
Yeah.
want to, on that deal, we want to return a minimum of 8% annualized cash flow.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Man, that's a pretty sweet deal then.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good
It's a
deal.
nice project.
Oh
And
yeah.
and there's multiple exit strategies. I mean, we could refi it and return some capital and just hold it. Put
Yeah.
long-term debt on it. Like I said, that's another thing. You got to have multiple exit strategies when you go into a deal. Not just only have one way to get in and one way to get out. So.
Right. 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 And I mean, me personally, man, I really want to be able to hold long term. So, do the value add and then refi my investor money back. And whoever wants to stay in can stay in the deal, and let's hold it for life. That's that's my
Absolutely.
mindset, man.
Yeah, my personal portfolio, I've only recently sold some deals. That in 2017 I sold that one deal in 1031, a smaller apartment complex, but I've started recently selling some of my smaller stuff just strictly to free up capital for
Right.
syndications, because we invest our own money in these deals as well.
Yeah.
And so I'm selling off some of my smaller portfolio of stuff to invest in these syndications.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
But even within my own portfolio, eventually we'll start selling some and then buying larger apartment complexes within my own personal portfolio in addition to our company.
Right. 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 That's the best way to do it, man, in my opinion. Well, yeah, man, let's go ahead and I'm sorry, say it again.
That's how you get that generational wealth.
That's right, man. That's what I'm all about, man.
Right.
All right, let's go ahead and segue into the lightning round here.
Okay.
All right, so what's the best advice you ever been given?
I would just say be persistent. You know, that's something that a lot of people think they're gonna, you know, they jump in this game, they come in, make a few phone calls, they get turned down, or they get discouraged because they lose out on a few deals and they give up. But I mean, man, you have to stay persistent. Be persistent and consistent.
Yeah.
Probably the best advice. Persistent with your efforts and consistent with your strategies and fundamentals.
Yeah. Yeah. Gotcha. What's the best book you've ever read?
Besides the Bible?
That's right.
Rich Dad Poor Dad probably is, you know, that's a classic that everybody probably says just from a mindset standpoint.
Yeah.
Napoleon Hill is another great, you know, great book. The book by Napoleon Hill.
Yeah. Think and Grow Rich.
Yep. Think and Grow Rich. And those probably are two good fundamental books that I would recommend.
Gotcha. What are some rituals you're doing right now that's making you a better investor or just person in general?
Well, every morning I try to have some quiet time. You know, I get up early and read the Bible, pray, reflect on the previous day, the day that's coming, review my goals, and then jump into the day.
Gotcha. What is the one thing you're focusing on right now to help you improve your business?
Right now, we're looking at establishing a thought leadership platform and branding with our company, Trident Multifamily.
Yeah.
So getting our name out there, establishing credibility within that Trident Multifamily brand.
Yeah.
Also refining our infrastructure. We just implemented an investor portal that we have all our investors, you know, when we have a deal go out, they can review all the documents there, sign all the documents there, get all their updates through the portal, and just present a more professional, you know, presentation to our investors. And beyond that, we are developing capital partnerships, whether it's folks that we could potentially partner with on the general partnership side, or even institutional capital. So we can larger deals and or more deals simultaneously.
Yeah. Now, what's the name of the company that you're doing the investor portal to, if you don't mind sharing?
We just switched to AppFolio. They have an investor portal. You know, they're best known for their
property management software. Yeah.
So they just launched a couple of years ago their own investor management software. Cool. And so with our property manager using AppFolio and then having the same investor portal, there's some synergies with both those working together.
Yeah.
And once we eventually become vertically integrated, we plan to use that property management software as well. So we're already established there.
Oh, that's awesome. Very good choice. All right, last question for you, man. If you can give your younger self one tip in regards to investing, what would that be?
Start sooner. I didn't start, you know, I'm 53 now. I started investing when I was, you know, 33. I would have started in my 20s if I could have. You may not be able to start as big or as strong, but at least you can start educating yourself and get in the game. And by the time you're my age, you'll be sitting on a beach somewhere.
That's right. All right, Mike, tell my listeners, man, how can they get in touch with you?
Our website is tridentmultifamily.com, tridentmultifamily.com, or you can email us at info@tridentmultifamily.com. We love to talk to anyone about potential partnerships or what we do as potential passive investors, or just help anyone we can in the game of real estate. We're here to help educate and perform.
Great. And if you guys are still listening up to this point, go ahead and do me a favor and hit the subscribe button on YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, wherever you're watching it at, and leave us a 5-star review because it allows us to keep getting awesome guests like this on the show. I appreciate you guys listening. Until next time, Mike, appreciate you coming on today, man.
Thank you, Willie.
All right, later.
Later.